Well, good afternoon everyone. Today you join me in an F56 2017 Mini Cooper 1.5 litre petrol. And today we are going to be doing a fuel economy challenge because I really enjoy these and I haven't done one in such a long time. If you're new around here, then basically what I do is I take this car on a journey and it will entail like town driving, city driving, and also a bit of motorway driving to get sort of a good representation to see what this car is like on the combined cycle with fuel efficiency. I've done a numerical amount of cars on my channel so far doing this sort of style of video, but this is by far the smallest engine I've done by a country mile. So it's going to be really interesting to see what sort of MPG figures they're going to be like and how they're going to compare to the likes of my Z4 or C63. So let's get down to the petrol station, fill this up, and we'll start our journey from there. Right, so I just now filled up and I have brimmed the tank completely. I've reset the computer and all that jazz. So all we need to do now is basically start the engine and start our drive. So let's go. All right, we're now on the move. We're starting off this journey in the town / city driving, and we're going to be just doing the normal commuting, start, stop, speeding, and we're going to pop to the shops afterwards. And then after that, we'll then head on some nice twisty, fun B roads and give the car a good old blast. And then after that, we'll get on to some more mundane, boring dual carriageway / motorway driving, and then we'll finish off the video, fill it up, and then get our results. One of the first things you notice when you're driving this particular 1.5 3-cylinder engine in this Mini is how much it's a very busy engine. It feels like an antagonized beehive that's been shaking for 5 minutes because it's always buzzing around, it's always busy. You can feel a lot of the vibrations in the car, and actually when I set up my GoPro I could see it kind of like shaking a little bit, and in my C63 it's always still, but in this car, because it's quite a grumpy engine and it's more apparent when you're at lower speeds and when you're at lower revs, is when you really do feel the vibrations across the cabin. Having said that, having these vibrations feeling it across the steering wheel and underneath you, it does give it some form of like character, and it definitely has a bit of charm about it. And I do think I prefer the 1.5 litre 3-cylinder variant compared to the 4-cylinder because of that charm that it has. It's very fun and very zippy, and it's got plenty of go to make this sort of town driving quite a doddle really. And with it being zippy, it's got a very good town driving sense to it because it's got a great steering, great responsiveness to it. And there's a caveat to that because it's got quite a firm ride, and I don't think it's helped with these 18-inch of the run flat tyres. I think it exaggerates how firm this car really is. But on the flip side, it does mean you have a very nice nimble car to nip around in around town. Okay, we're now fastly approaching the supermarket and I have to get one of my essentials. So I'm going to quickly nip into the shop, park the car up, and I'll see you very briefly. But before I do that, I'll park the car up in a space to see how easy it is to maneuver and park. This one would do very nicely. Visibility is absolutely excellent in this car. There's so much, like, the pillars aren't very big and there's lots of glass to see around. And I do have parking sensors, so this bollard behind me should be alerting me, which it is right now. It's a very funky noise, and I'm very close because my thing's gone red, and that is very close. So we'll just turn that off. Yep, that's good. Okay. So yeah, I'm now going to go get my essentials and I'll see you very shortly. Okay, so what did we get? We got 2 chocolate milks because doing fuel efficiency tests requires extreme thirst. So now we got these, and I would just like to add actually whilst I'm here, there is a lot of cup holders in the Mini because you think it's got none being a small car, but we've actually got 2 at the front perfectly here, but we also have 3 cup holders in the back row too, even though there's only 2 seats at the back. I don't know why either. Anyway, I've done my town driving, so I'm going to finish that off camera, and then when we approach some B roads, I'll put the cameras on and then we'll do some more spirited driving. Okay, so we have now just completed the town part of the journey, and we averaged around 30 miles per gallon, which doesn't sound great, but that is a kind of normal speed for this car, because it's actually my fiance's car, and she has averaged, before I reset it, around 33 miles per gallon, and she does mainly town and city driving. So now that we are approaching this national, it would be a good time to see what this car is like. We put it into sport mode and give it a bit more oomph. So let's give it a go. Tiny bit of torque steer there, and we're up to 60. This particular Cooper variant houses the B38 engine underneath the bonnet, which is a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, giving you around 136 horsepower as well as 220 newton meters of torque, which actually propels this bundle of excitement to a 0 to 60 around 7.8 seconds. It's got plenty enough pace to do its everyday driving, however it does run out of puff at higher speed and the higher RPM band, so just be wary of that. We're just gonna do a quick launch with nothing around me so we can hear this lovely zesty soundtrack. And we are up to 60, just like that, and it's got such a lovely raucous but quite exciting soundtrack, and you couple that with the excitement you get at the end of the rev range as it's about to change gear. It does a little flap out of the exhaust, so it's quite exhilarating in that regard. Now I'm going to put the car through its paces around the corners, and the steering is very lively, very direct, and I think it's definitely helped with that 1.5 litre hanging over the front axle. It really does help with not having so much weight over it. You definitely feel how lively it is around the bends. This particular car has a 6-speed automatic gearbox, and it's all right. It's a bit eager to get going, is something that I've noticed, that it wants to get up and go really quickly, so your little throttle inputs are a bit exaggerated sometimes, so it's something to be a bit wary of, but for the most part it does an alright job. It just isn't the quickest gearbox in the world. And something else which is quite eager is also the brake pedal. It's very grabby in some regards, so when you're doing normal slow town driving it can feel a bit abrupt when you're coming to a halt. Right, so we're now on some faster free-flowing roads. This is going to be a more consistent speed, so it should do better for our MPG, and somehow I've managed to average around 34.4 miles per gallon. So I've managed to gain around 4 miles per gallon whilst doing that spirited driving. I think town driving really does do no good for this car in terms of fuel economy. It's much happier at higher speeds, and that kind of translates, because when you're at lower speeds the engine's vibrating a lot more, it just feels more grumpy, but when you get this car rolling and do some actual commuting, it is genuinely happier, and it translates into the MPG because it is increasing as we get to higher speeds. Whilst we're on this smooth B road, it's probably a good time to talk about what MPG we'll get. With me knowing this car somewhat well, I think with the combined cycle it should probably average around 40 miles per gallon, but I'd like to know what you think it's going to get. Auto Trader claims that it will do around 60 miles per gallon on the combined cycle, which normally they are quite on it and they're quite accurate with their figures, but this one is just completely overinflated, so I don't think we'll get anything near that. Well, we've just now completed the B road section. We're about to do the motorway section, so before we do that we'll knock it into manual mode and put the gear lever to the side. You can actually change gears manually if you want. So now we're in manual mode, second gear. Have a bit more fun before we hit the dual carriageways. That's actually really fun. I'm surprised I've never done that before. That is much more fun than doing it the regular way. Put it to second gear now. Do a quick launch here. Rolling. That is a lot more fun than I thought it would be. That is something definitely worth consider. If you have an auto, definitely use the manual mode, because that is actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. But now we're on some dual carriageways, and we averaged around nearly 40 miles per gallon when we were doing that B road section. So I have to eat my own words, because I thought that's what we'll get. So now the last stretch of it being a dual carriageway at 70, I could probably imagine this could probably do nearly 45 to the gallon on a combined cycle. And the reason I say that is because we did a Cornwall trip last year, and we managed to average around 55 miles per gallon just on the dual carriageway motorways alone. And that is an incredible figure for something with just a petrol engine with no electrical assistance. And a couple of people commented on one of my reviews on this car. If you haven't watched it and you want to know more about this car, then that might be worth considering. Those two people that commented said they got over 60 miles per gallon when they did a long run in their 1.5 litre Cooper variant, which is, I think, is an astonishing figure, all things considered. They did mention they were running 17-inch wheels, so I think that probably helps. And I'm not sure if you can hear, but with these 18-inch wheels partnered with the run flats, there's quite a bit of tyre roar, and you also get quite a bit of wind noise, I think, from the slanted window, because of the way it's designed, it's quite a weird angle, and I think because of that you do suffer with a bit of wind buffeting. But just for reference, if you are wondering what does this car do when you are travelling at 70 miles per hour, what sort of RPM range is it doing? Well, currently we're doing 70 miles per hour and we're sat at around maybe 2,400 RPMs. So it's not like it's actually really working hard when you are doing motorway speeds either. So that probably helps with fuel efficiency as well. Well, all right, we are now in the petrol station, which is extremely busy, and well, it says on my computer, obviously you can't see it and I can't show you right now, but we have done around 40 miles per gallon. So in actual fact, I actually was on the money, it seems, and 40 miles per gallon is roughly the figure we have got from our computer. But how that translates with actual maths once we fill it up, well, time will tell. But for now, all I've got to do now is just fill it up, and I'll relay all the information back to you very shortly. Right, so I've now just brimmed the fuel tank, and when I pulled up at the forecourt, it indicated on my computer that I did 40 miles per gallon, and that was over 20.9 miles. So it'd be really interesting to see how it differentiates from the computer to when I do the calculation on mpgcalculator.co.uk to see how close they are in terms of mpg. It said I used 3.05 litres to brim the tank, and it cost me around £4.14 with the current fuel price of being £1.35.9, and that is of course using 95 RON. So let's now get on the MPG calculator to find out exactly how much fuel we used and what fuel efficiency we got in total. So the distance in miles was 20.9, and then litre fuel use was 3.05. So our computer said it was 40 miles per gallon. So now we're going to calculate and see exactly how much we got. I'm quite nervous for this one because I want it to be good. 31.15 miles per gallon. No way! That can't be right, surely. That can't be right. No way! I don't know what to say about that. It can't be right, surely. 31.15 miles per gallon. That's awful. That's not very good at all. I don't know if that's because this computer's really well off. Well, it must be. I'm genuinely flabbergasted. I don't know what to say about that, because my BMW E85 Z4 did around 28 miles per gallon. I'm going to have to do this test at another point to see how accurate that is, because that is genuinely, that is flabbergasted me. I can't believe that. Well, I wasn't really expecting that, as you can see from my reaction, and I suppose a question to you guys, if you are mechanically minded, is there something in this car which could potentially be causing this to not be fuel efficient, or is the computer just way off with its numbers, or if I just had, I don't know, an anomaly. I don't know. Seems very far-fetched to have 9 miles per gallon difference compared to the MPG calculator compared to the onboard computer. Let me know in the comments down below as to why there's such a gargantuan difference between the calculator and the computer, because this has never happened before in my tests. They are normally a very small margin, maybe like 2 to 3 miles per gallon max, whereas this is 3 times that. It's 9 miles per gallon difference. That's huge. If you want to know more about this car, then please be sure to watch the full review that I did on it, which I will add to the end screen. In addition to that, if you want to see any more content on this car, then please do comment down below exactly what you'd like to see. If you do enjoy these fuel efficiency videos, then please let me know down in the comments below and leave a like, as it is the best way you can help and support the channel. And if you haven't done so already, then please do consider subscribing for plenty of more future uploads to come. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye for now.